everyone. Your career journey probably won't look like anyone else's, and that's exactly what makes it interesting. So, welcome today to Tallo Real Careers, Real Journeys, where we're going to explore the twists and turns that lead people to where they are today. I'm excited to introduce Nicholas Hines and hear his path from student to a career as a financial advisor. Nicholas, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's appreciated.
You bet. Can you maybe start by telling us a little bit about where you are today in your career, including what a typical day looks like?
Okay. I'm actually in a cool part of my career where I am transitioned to a new firm for great reasons. But typically, my life and my career is me talking to clients, uh, at least six or seven clients a day, and calling at least 40 people a day just to have a conversation about money. That's a typical day in my firm or in my client. I was with Northwestern Mutual, which is probably the top five investment firm in the world or in the
Mhm.
United States. Now I'm going to JP Morgan and Chase, which is more of a household name to many people, right? Because everyone sees a Chase Bank somewhere. And I'm going there where they're also in the top five and moving my firm there. So it's been pretty great.
It's interesting, Nicholas, because I think those names that you mentioned, these company names are familiar household. Like a lot of us have heard those names. And
Mhm.
I've even heard of a financial advisor before, but I'm not sure that I understand what does a financial advisor actually do?
Actually, that is a very, very wonderful question. There's a few things that we truly do, and what I define and what we do, because all of us are different. I talk to clients about their future, right? A big thing for me is finding out what my clients' goals are and what they'll love to accomplish, and then we build a map to get them there financially. So that means talking about investments, talking about bonds, talking about how to budget, how to plan around budget, how to reduce debt, how to even use that if we need. But we try to do that strategically so our clients can actually get to their goals and then retire and live on the beach or in the mountains the way they choose.
Wow, that sounds like such important work, something that a lot of people could benefit from for sure. How did you choose this career path for yourself?
Um, that is loaded. I started my career in 2010, but I started in a total different field. I started in hospitality, where I help people in food. I was a director of food and beverage, where I learned food, wine, and people. And after a while, I realized that wasn't enough. I wasn't compelled enough to continue to do it. And I wanted to impact people differently. So a major part of me, and I always love understanding money and understanding how it worked. And my family was in a great situation. So I said, why not start something? Why not go somewhere where I don't have to answer to anyone? I can choose the people I talk to, which is really great as a financial advisor. I choose the client I want to talk to and how I talk with them and how we interact, and it's a mutual situation. So I wanted to help people in a very way that's more permanent than just giving them food or feeding them alcohol or create an experience for them. So I wanted to do that, and that's why I stepped into this about 5 or 10 years ago. About 5 years ago, actually.
Wow. So it sounds like you started out on one path and then
Hmm.
determined that maybe it wasn't getting you exactly where you wanted to go. But
Hmm.
were you able to use some of the things that you had learned in that career path to maybe redirect into something new?
Yes, it wasn't the path wasn't getting me where I wanted. I accomplished the goals in that path and
Okay.
wasn't fulfilled. So I became a director, and which is an executive position in one of the largest hotel brands, Intercontinental, and I started in Ritz-Carlton. So I had everything I wanted, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I that was the first time in life that I felt incomplete. And I was like, okay, this is something different. And I wanted something that could help me and help others. And that's where financial advice came in. I talked to a lot of friends and realized they didn't understand it. And I really understood it. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is crazy. So
Yeah.
let me walk into that space. And I walked in, and now I feel super fulfilled every day. And I feel like I'm always chasing something that is really, really motivating. So that's the reason why I stepped into this space.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You had started telling us a little bit about like what a current day looks like.
Yes.
I think there was a really fun video that you shared that maybe gives us a little glimpse into your life.
Yeah. So this video, and I'll tell you, it's something I decided to do starting this year. It's called Nickels and Dimes, where I kept running into the same conversations over and over again. And I noticed that people will pay me to have the same conversation. And I was like, this is not impactful. Why not just start a small chat? And I started a small podcast where we just talk about it. It's not an interview. It's not me trying to get people to subscribe. I post it on LinkedIn so everyone is able to see it and see what strategic moves they can make on their own, instead of paying a financial advisor like myself to do it.
Mhm.
So we talk about simple planning for family, simple planning for some of their stocks and budgeting, and what they need to look for. So when they're asking financial advisors, if not me, others, they're not being taken advantage of, which that can happen in a space like this.
Very cool. I'd like to talk a little bit about your preparation. So, what
Yes,
education and training did you need for this career? And is there anything that you wish you'd studied differently?
studied. I guess I'm a nerd by happenstance. I love to read. But if you go back and study something differently, it would be psychology,
Ah,
right? The
okay.
reason I didn't realize as a logical thinker how much money and conversation with money has an emotional impact to it. So I would have go back and study that a lot more so people could understand, or I can understand people a lot better than I currently do. Right. So that's what I would go back. I graduated from Tuskegee University with a business degree, and I'm actually getting ready to attend for my master's in finance, or my master's of science in finance, to Georgia State. It's between Georgia State and Georgia Tech right now. So those are the two schools I'm looking to go to next because I just like learning. The other aspects of that is a Series 6, Series 7, and Series 66, and something they call an SIE. So all these things you have to take an exam federally to even be able to talk to someone about money. And it's important that you understand these things because there are legal ramifications to everything that we do and every decision or recommendation we make. So they wanted to make sure we are actually approved to have these conversations before we can even talk to a client. And legally, we want to make sure that we agree to the issues, or agree to the fines or the stipulations of having the conversation and giving something to someone incorrectly. So that's why we do
Wow.
it.
Okay. So it sounds like a college education is typically required,
Yes.
and then a lot of specialized education that comes along with some certifications because
Yes.
you're working with other people's money, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that would make sense that you'd need to be the people need to verify that you know what you're doing and that you understand all the laws and requirements of
Yes.
doing that.
Hmm.
Very cool. Well, if you would for me, think back to maybe even when you were in high school.
Yes.
And there's probably some skills, some natural talents, some
Hmm.
abilities that were evident even when you were, in high school that were important to the work that you do today. Can you talk to us a little bit about what those skills and abilities might be?
Yes, they're the soft skills. All right. I was a very outgoing. I love sports. I love doing things outside. I love bringing people together. So my soft skills were what were really important, right? I thought ahead. I went against the grain a lot in that
Mhm.
aspect. So those are the things that really helped me move forward. So when I was in high school, yes, I never followed the crowd, but also understood what the crowd was doing, right? Which is very
Mhm.
important in this space. So if you look at the screen, I wasn't very conventional in my thought, right? I knew I could go to school, and I went to school, but I didn't go to the most conventional school. I came out of Richmond, Virginia, where there was UVA, there was Georgia, there was Virginia Tech, there were VCU, and if I went to those, I would have walked in my sophomore year because of the amount of credits I had in school. I would have went in my sophomore year instead of my freshman. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have the entire college experience. So I went 10 hours away. So that was more enterprising, and a lot of investigation that I had to do to really understand why I wanted to do this. I wanted 4 to 5 years to really enjoy life in college. And it helped because of all the other pieces, my soft skills, knowing that I only had 4 years to really investigate what I wanted,
Right.
right? And just going in and jumping ahead on a path that I thought about in 10th grade wasn't going to be the right one. I thought I was going to be an engineer in 10th grade, right? And then I
Mhm.
met chemistry, and I realized I was not an engineer, right? So, but I knew I enjoyed math. I knew I enjoyed these things, but also I threw parties in high school. So I thought all these things would work, and they really did in my first career. But my second was much better.
Very cool. how do you think about maintaining work-life balance in your job?
This is a beautiful thing about being a financial advisor, right? You can plan your day and you can truly plan how you interact with everything you do on the outside. So I wake up in the morning, I take my son to school. That is very impactful for me. So at 8 in the morning, I'm normally at school with him, dropping him off. I get into office at 9 o'clock. His pickup is roughly between 4:30 and 5. So I plan my day throughout that aspect of this is what I can do. There are random times that my wife have off where she's sitting at home and she's like, "Hey, can we go have lunch or dinner or have lunch or go to a movies in the middle of my day?" And we just plan it ahead. So I just don't put any meetings in that schedule. I don't have to answer to anyone about it. So I'm able to then do these things and have a really wonderful quality of life.
Yeah.
And then I'm a coach for my son's T-ball team, which just happened. I'm not good at coaching, but I'm good at standing there and smiling. So I get to just be a part of my family in all aspects. And that doesn't just mean my family, my wife and son, but my mom, she wanted to travel. My dad turned 60 this year. He wanted to go to Jamaica, which is where we're from, for his birthday party. We took a month off, right? This is not typical things that most careers allow you to do. But
Right.
because my career is doing well and the things that we've done in the space, I was able to just really build the quality of life that I wanted.
Wow. It's fantastic. It sounds like this career involves a lot of hard work,
It
but
does.
also a lot of flexibility that allows you to make space for the things that are important to you.
Yes. And I want to correct the median income for that was on the screen before.
Uh-huh.
That is the low end, and that's more on an average space than the other. Wow. Okay. So that is on the lower end of what you think of, right? So the median income for a majority of financial advisors is about a $250,000.
Wow.
Right? So
Right.
there is a way to get there. You have to work. The higher end of that career could be up to a million to $5 million. So that is the high end on that income on the threshold.
I'm glad you took a moment to talk about that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for sharing that.
of course.
I think we'd like to take just a moment for a quick poll.
Okay.
Okay, so Betsy, can you verify, see if the students can see the poll and are able to join? All right,
Wow, I'm more interested in the career path. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
there we
That's nice.
go.
looks like we're getting some answers. So
Yeah,
It's understandable.
fantastic.
I like that. I welcome you to this career. It's fun. Anything?
can we go back just for a second? We had
Hmm.
some that we're still getting to it. Sorry, just want to make sure
Okay.
everybody gets the chance.
Okay. 67% believe that this is good. I welcome you. Please come join
All
us.
right, loving it.
Yes.
You start throwing out numbers like that, Nicholas, you get their attention.
Everyone's like, wow, okay. All right. So you guys do make money. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as we should, we're seeing a few folks who are listening and have decided this is probably not the right path for them. And you know what? That's super important too.
It is very much so important. I don't need everyone to like this path because we have to manage someone. So that's perfect.
Absolutely. I'd like to talk a little bit about some things that maybe has changed for you in your field, or like what are the opportunities for growth or and advancement?
It is beautiful. So some individuals walk in as an entry level advisor or just say, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and join a team, but don't feel that, "Hey, I like going out and talking to individuals." There is this wonderful aspect of just being on a computer and building out portfolios that
Mhm.
is still there, and you're in the financial space. So there is the people forward, and then there's the back of house forward, and also there's Wall Street. So all these aspects can work, and you can always find your way. So for me, I'm a senior advisor, so I'm able to do a lot more because of that. But an entry level advisor walk in and may not feel this career is right, and if they move up, they can still like it. But I do know that when I walked in with 10, and there's only four of us still in that senior advisor role, but the other
Mhm.
six are still in finance. They manage portfolios, so they don't really have to talk to anyone but financial advisors, and they get to sit back and just really look at numbers and see their screen and don't interact with much people but their family during the day. But they know exactly what's going on with portfolios and money. There are
Mhm.
others that really just like the clinical aspect of it, the clinical aspect, and just want to do the information and want to build out the plans, and they get to do that. So there are different aspects in this field, and we have people that actually regulate us, that have all this things that we have, but sit outside and protect the clients from the advisors. So they look at what advisors are doing, review notes, and then tell us when we're wrong, and actually help the clients in the long term. So there are different paths that you can go to this. But most people want to be a managing partner, managing director, because now they get to control they have their own office, meaning they have 10 or 20 advisors underneath them, even more, right? Everything starts and stops with them. They're basically CEO of their own building, and they manage everyone. So that's where you want to go. Just like in a law firm, the name partner is what that happens in financial advisory. You want to become a name partner, right?
Mhm.
The income is different, the lifestyle is different from a name partner than in any other advisor.
Gotcha. Wow. It's really cool to see, or, these, the career path that's there, right? And that you can go from one place to another, and it's very well defined, and you can
Yeah.
see kind of what you need to do to get to each step. We have another quick poll for you. This one I think is going to require just a little bit more thought. But if you've
Okay.
learned something so far, please share that right now. And this poll you can continue to participate in. We're going to
Mhm.
continue the presentation in a moment, talking about some misconceptions about this career and things that might
Yes.
surprise you.
Yes. Misconception about this. We are salespeople, right? Many people think all we do is move or sell products, and that's far from the truth, right? We are sales, we are in that, but we cannot move products into your life unless it's right for you, right?
Okay.
And the client must agree to these things because it's very important. This is part of why we have these exams. Because if I give you something and it's wrong for you, you can come back up to 2 to 3 years later and say, hey, I didn't agree to this. Why this happened? And why do I have this? And that can really change the impact on what happens to us. Right. So that's one. The other is you must be a math genius. No.
Oh, come on. Are you serious,
I
Nicholas? You
am I
don't
am
have to be a
serious.
math genius.
I wish everyone in finance was math geniuses, but we have some really great advisors that if you sat them down and give them a complex math problem, they will not know how to start. But they're
Okay.
some of the best advisors out there. Some advisors really just have to know how to understand people, understand what their needs are, and what product or what they need to help them get to that path. And math is not that, right? Math sees 1 plus 1 equal 2. A financial advisor should see 1 plus 1 equal 2, but how else can I get to 2? And you just need to be strategic in that thought, right?
Right.
The other is 9 to 5. It's an easy job and it's 9 to 5. It is absolutely not a 9 to 5 job. It is absolutely not easy. And the flexibility is there, but you have to work for that flexibility, right? So yes, I might do all these things with my family, but there are days that I go to network meetings or network things that I'm away for 4 or 5 hours just talking to individuals I don't know, right? These are pieces of it that are very much important. So you have to know that there's balance to everything, and what you put into this practice or put into whatever you want to do is what you will get out of it, right? Just like anything else in the world. But finance is a lot more. Whatever you put in and whatever you read, that's what comes out of it, right? Advisors only work with wealthy people? No, absolutely not. There is only 1% of the world that is extremely wealthy, right? And
Right.
normally those extremely wealthy individuals have 5 or 6 advisors working for them, right? Because there's so much moving parts, and that's a small number. But what you want, what most advisors have is a practice where people make roughly $80,000 to $250,000. And that's the
Okay.
range, right? The most of their people that they work with make between 80 and 100 and 150, because that's what the average American makes. Because what we're talking about is planning and building. And you don't have to have a lot of money to do that. You just have to have enough, right? Or enough capability or capacity to do that. So if you're a single individual making $120,000 a year with no kids, you have more than enough capacity to do it, right? But
Mhm.
you can also meet people that make $500,000 a year and spend $500,000 a year, right?
Right.
And that
Right.
means they're going to be horrible for me to plan with because they make that much, but they
Yeah.
spend that much. So that's some of the misconceptions they have about us, Phil.
I love that you talked about that. Even if students today aren't interested in this career, there's probably some really good advice
Mhm.
here in thinking about planning ahead. And if you want to be able to plan for things like retirement and building up savings to take care of your children, like all
Mhm.
of those things you can find help through a financial advisor, but it starts with spending less money than you make. That's good advice for
Yes.
all of us.
Yes. Please.
Love that.
Please. Debt is not bad. Spending is worse. Please.
Nicholas, what would you say is the hardest part of your job, and how do you handle that?
Failure. Failure is the hardest part of my job. Out of every 10 people I talk to, I may only get two of them to want to work with me. Right?
Oh,
So
wow.
you have to build this understanding that failure is a part of life. And that's why you saw the quote that I have, Jay-Z's my favorite art, my favorite of all time. And every time you fail, you have to just look at it as a lesson, right? Sometimes I fail because this person just not ready for it today. Sometimes I fail because this person may not feel they have enough. Sometimes I fail because we just weren't interacting in a way that they're comfortable with. I might not be the personality for them, right? And sometimes they fail because the client just didn't feel they know what they're doing and they're in a good space. So I have to know that failure is not just one thing. It's not just because of me. It could be in
Mhm.
spite of me, right? So I have
Yeah.
to know that. So you have to build resilience and get to actually succeed here, knowing that failure is a part of it.
So it sounds like that's a really important part of your job, is recognizing that what you're describing as failure is really being rejected, that not
Yes,
everyone's going to want to work with you, and
yes,
you have to learn to not take that personally and just
yes.
move on.
Don't feel,
Ready
don't.
next.
I just blanket. Don't. I like that rejection. Don't fear rejection. Rejection is actually important, right? Because a lot in my first year, I was rejected 60% of the time, right? But
Wow.
30% of those people came back and spoke to me in my fourth year, right?
Yeah.
They just weren't ready for it. And when I called them back, they're like, oh, thank you. I really needed to talk to you. You just don't understand what's going on in my world right now. And it's important.
Okay.
Mhm,
So if you could go back in time and
mhm,
give your younger self advice, knowing what you know now,
mhm.
what would you tell?
Knowledge and studying is great, but try to work to build and maintain relationships in them. That is more important, right? Like I said, I am traditionally an introvert. I love sitting down with a book and being in my family, being at home. I was always this way. I love studying. I love gaining knowledge, but I had an issue with maintaining relationships long term. Right. Once I left high school, I closed up the relationship book in high school, zip tied and said that was high school. When I got to college, anyone that gravitated and moved up with me, it was great. But I had an issue reconnecting because unless you're here, I'm on to the next. So I had to learn to maintain that. And my wife was a major part of me maintaining relationships. Like she'll come home like, hey, did you call these individuals? And I'm like, no, I didn't call them. They're busy. She's like, they're your friends. They're honestly your friends. Can you give them a call, check on them, and see how they're doing? Just make sure they're okay. And that really was a major turning point in everything in my life because I learned how to adjust and talk to individuals other than myself and people in my immediate vicinity. So that's what I'll tell my younger self. Everything else I did, all the failures that happened, all the bad decisions I made, all those things are part that made me who I am today. Right. And if
Mhm.
you met me in high school and my friends in high school will tell you, yes, I was extremely smart, but I will do really dumb things, right? I went to high school in the early 2000s. I was in my high school. I surfed a car on
Mhm.
top of a roof. I guess some of you guys are high school, so I was a kid that they're like, "Hey, what are we gonna do?" I'm just gonna surf the car down the street. These are things that I did when I was younger that helped me be better than I am today. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't change any of those things, even the dumb decisions.
Super great advice. Super
Mhm.
great advice. I want to transition to kind of the Q&A portion of this. I hope you guys have been putting in your questions, and you can continue to use your Slido to insert those questions for Nicholas. And then in a moment, we're going to put up a poll where you can actually rate the evaluation, rate the session today as well. So the first question I have for you, Nicholas, from a
Mhm.
student is, what would you say is the hardest part of your career?
Starting. Starting. It is a leap of faith in most spaces when it comes to this. Most people start with nothing, and you have to really go out and be outside of yourself. That is the most difficult part of this. But once you start, you realize how easy it is to keep going.
Do you think that your job will be replaced by AI?
No, AI is great, but most people want to talk to someone when it comes to money. This is why being that interaction is important. The more wealthy you become or the more money you have at risk, the less you want to leave it to machines, the more you want to understand the complexity of what's going on behind. And that's where people come in. But AI is important in working it together with it,
Yeah.
right? So now you can ask AI a question, and whatever the client or whenever the advisor tell you, AI can help you really pull out what's truth and what's just grand illusion that that someone can tell you.
So, what is one thing you would tell everyone to influence their self thoughts and confidence in this? Is it
Mhm.
what you expected or is it different in your career?
It is not what I expected. It is extremely different. Being adaptable, understand change is important, and
Mhm.
it's okay. Change is okay. That's what I will tell you. Change is okay. And as you can tell from my career, I was always okay with change. But when I came here, I thought, oh, everyone's going to want to be want to talk to me. I am great. I am successful. And I realized that's not the case. But if you're consistent and you're honest, more people will come to you than anything.
I like that consistency and honesty. So, looking back, oh, this is very similar question. Looking back, is this a job? Is it all that you expected it to be?
More.
Oh,
More. So I didn't realize how much of an impact I would have until I got into it, right? I have clients now that call me and ask me questions about should they change jobs, why they should change, how can we do a cost
wow.
analysis of how much we're making, and that wasn't something I thought I was going to do, right? So I have people trust me enough to ask me, "Hey, Nick, I have this great opportunity. Should I even take this? And is it going to get me to where I want to go?"
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's so amazing because someone trusts me enough to have that conversation with me.
Wow. What do you think is the most important part of your career?
People, helping people. It's amazing. So my mom is a client of mine, and she's going to retire soon. And prior to having a conversation with me, I had no idea how retirement would look for her. Right. My wife and I were planning to say, hey, we're going to pay off her home. She'll be okay. We'll make sure we build out about $1,000 to $2,000 a month where we send to her on top of everything. And we sat down and I spoke to her and build out. I was like, oh God, mom, you're okay. She's like, yeah, I want to work till like a certain age. It's like, mom, but mom, you're okay. Based on all the numbers, you'll get there just by moving this little thing over. And she moved it and she's on track. Same thing with my wife's mom and also my dad, like seeing those small impacts it really does help. And it makes me feel amazing knowing.
I love that. A lot of people today are looking for a career where they feel like they can have an impact, leave a
Mhm,
lasting mark, really make a difference in people's lives. And a lot
mhm,
of times you think about healthcare, right? Or you
mhm.
you think about being a mental health professional, like there's different things you can do to help people, but it sounds like you found a way to help people in some ways that are incredibly important. Started out in business.
Yes. I
Love that.
I will say this. I am not good with blood at all. At all. I am not good with illness. I am great with numbers. And to find a career where numbers help people is very difficult because typically numbers only help business. So to find a way where numbers help individuals get to where they want to go, I can tell you nothing else is much better.
Wow.
Yep.
I have one final question for you
Mhm.
from our students.
Yes.
Were you ever close to giving up? And if so, why and what made you not give up?
Every day. Every single day we are close to giving up. And like I said, failure and people telling you no can be very disheartening, right? Especially when you see the numbers and you know it works for them and you know it will give them the most positive outcome. And
Yeah.
when people turn away from those things, it really does impact me heavy. So every day, all the time, I feel like I'm going to step away. But my wife, allows me to see the outside, see it from outside and how it impacts it. Other clients that call, I might be down in the dumps and I get a call from a client like, hey, Nick, oh my God, I just got this and it's amazing. Thank you so much. I wouldn't even think I was going to make this. Actually, a month ago, a client called me and said, hey, my wife needs a new car, but I don't want to buy it on consignment. I don't want to have a lease or I don't want anything. I just want to pay it outright. And my statement was, okay, we can do that. And he was like, but I don't want to impact our future. I was like, yeah, we planned for it. We talked about it 2 years ago when she mentioned, hey, my car is having an issue. And we put it in the plan. And he's like, when? And I showed him that we've been putting this thing in the plan for about 2 years. And now he's like, oh wow, I didn't even know we were doing this. So now his wife has a car that she wants, and it's something that was minor, right? Has a car that she wants that she drove off the lot without thinking about it because we just put it in the plan. So those are the small things that get me to where I want to be, and I'll come back in the office the next day with a smile.
I love that. Wow.
So, of
Well, Nicholas, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and knowledge with us today.
course.
Hopefully, our Tallow talent picked up some insights that surprised or sparked something new. Remember, everyone's path is going to be different, but that's what makes it yours. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and remember, there's no single right way to build a career. We'll be back next time with a completely different story from a totally different field because the more paths you see, the more possibilities you'll discover for yourself. If you want to learn more about this career, go to Tallo. You can scan this QR code and it will take you directly to information on Tallo about being a financial advisor. Thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful day.